Hello everyone, it's Tana. Welcome back to the channel and another video for the Not2Shabby shop. Today we're working with the Happy Together stamp set, part of the latest release, and we do end up using some of the die cut stickers and pattern paper for a third card. But first, I have my images pre-stamped. I just wanted to show you, they come with some cute additions that you can add to the fingers and wrists. I wanted to show you how easy that was. So the bracelet and rings can be stamped right on top. The watch I stamped separately because I didn't see a way to do it without cutting it out and gluing it on afterwards. So I'm going to use my zigs because I haven't used them in a while, and I'm just going to add some color. I use an empty water brush and I squirt some water on my mat and spread the water that way. I have the colors listed above for you. Now when it comes to skin tones, I also did another image which I used Copic markers on off screen, and that one was easier for me to do. With this, I showed you my process here. So I took these colors that I thought would make good skin tones and then blended them together on my scrap paper to see what they would look like. And I came up with two that I liked, and those are it right there. And I did want to use two different skin tones. And then I made this mistake right here. I wasn't paying attention, and I put that really dark mid-brown on the guy's finger. So they both have the same color skin tone. I at first was unhappy with the skin tone color using the zig markers because with the blending with the water, I felt like I couldn't control how it looked, especially in the wider open spaces like down the arm. It looked a bit mottled to me, so I went over it again with the water brush, and the more it dried back, the more I liked it. It made the skin look more natural. So I was happy with the results at the end. Because I used the same colors for the skin tones because of the mistake I made, I'm only going to show you the one arm. And that way we can move on. So here's everything cut out. I used glitter pens, Jelly Roll glitter pens on the bracelets and such so that they would stand out against the markers. Now I'm going to take this little heart that came in the stamp set, and I'm going to stamp it all over this panel in VersaFine Morning Mist ink, VersaFine Clear Morning Mist ink, and I'm going over it with my Nuvo Crystal Clear embossing powder. After I finish heat embossing all these, we're going to use Jelly Roll glaze pens. I ended up having 4 colors to use. I wanted to keep it like Valentine's themed for this card, so I used purples and pinks. I think actually it's 1 purple, 2 pinks, and 1 red because that's what came in my set of glaze pens. But you can use whatever you want. I did toy with the idea of using glitter pens also. Now I'm going to take my Catherine Pooler Twilight Reinker. I added 1 drop of water to 2 drops of the Twilight Reinker, and I splattered that all over my panel. And of course I dried that really well when it was done. And then I'm going to adhere that to the card panel with double-sided tape. If you hear my heater kicking on and off, I apologize. We are at the beginning of a storm that's going to last the weekend here, so it is freezing right now, and the wind is blowing at like 40 miles an hour. So I used foam tape to pop up the hands, and I glued the watch on. Now that watch, I tried it both ways. You could have it with the watch face on the top of the wrist or the bottom of the wrist. I liked it better towards the bottom of the wrist. And we're going to set that card aside. Now I'm using some VersaFine, I can't remember what it's called. It's been so long since I've used it. It's just a regular VersaFine black ink that you can use. It stamps really well for sentiments, and it stays wet long enough to use clear embossing powder on. So I took the sentiments Happy Together and So and covered a piece of that pattern paper from the My Sweet Valentine paper pad. And here is my sentiment for the first card. It says, "Be mine," stamped out in the Twilight ink because that's what I used for the splatters. And it's on a stitch sentiment strip from MFT. And here I'm just marking where those arms are going to hang off of my pattern paper, and I'm trimming that down because these are going to be glued straight to that paper before I put it onto the card panel. And I'm using my Nouveau Deluxe adhesive for that. I really like this card. I think out of all of them, this one was my favorite. Use some double-sided adhesive on the back of that panel and put it on a black 100-pound card base. Now that one doesn't say anything on the front because it's got "So Happy Together" repeated, but on the inside that one does say "Happy Birthday." So for each video, I'm trying to do a little bit with the paper pads and the ephemera or stickers. So I took one of the coffee stickers and put it on a piece of 100-pound, 120-pound cardstock. I basically traced the sticker and then cut it down to size after I lined the sticker up as best I could. And I took this white piece of pattern paper from the Frosted and Tufted paper pack, and I used a blank coffee cup so I could stamp "For my" or "To my best friend." I can't remember what it says. I think it's "To my best friend." And I popped that paper pad or that paper panel up on foam tape, I believe. Yes, I did. I popped it up on foam tape. I swear, my memory sometimes. So I had enough room to stamp "To my best," and then I realigned it so I could put "Friend" underneath. And if you see, I just marked off the piece of the sentiment I wasn't using with purple tape, and it was easily stamped that way. So I popped this up on foam tape as well, added some glue to it, put it in the center towards the bottom of the card, and now I'm using some of the ephemera stickers, 3 blue hearts, and I put those on cardstock as well. So, and then I glued that. I knew what I was going to do to them, so I wanted them on the cardstock and not just the stickers, because I wasn't sure when I added glossy accents if they would come up or not. So I'm adding my sequins, which came in the Valentine's Day box. And I do take the sequins off the hearts. I put glossy accents onto the whipped cream for the coffee, and then on the 3 hearts, and then I add the sequins very carefully back into the center of each heart while the glossy accents is on it. And that's it, guys. This one already has its sentiment on the coffee cup. Hope you liked what you saw here today. Don't forget to use the coupon code down below if you plan on shopping at Jamie's Shop, Not2ShabbyShop.com. And we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now, guys.